Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Call of Dragons, we're going to react to some of the content they launched this morning. One of the new heroes and their kits has been revealed. The other one, man, we're going to have to wait maybe a day. Maybe once we get in the season. We're entering into our season in like just a matter of days. So very soon we will get to check out the new mages. But first, let's talk about forming a fellowship. In the Dragonfall season, which I'm very hyped for, you can form a fellowship, okay? It's actually the Fellowship of the Infernal Flame. I'm just reacting to the picture here. So you create a fellowship, or you join one, and you can provide one hero and one artifact to your fellowship members. And the other slots here for the other people in your fellowship. Here's how it works. Only one of each hero or artifact can be used. When a hero is shared, neither the borrower nor the lender can level them up, upgrade their star rating, change their talents, or send them gifts. When your artifact is shared, neither the borrower nor the lender can level it up, upgrade its star rating, or upgrade its skill. This makes sense. Imagine if you could be like, hey, borrow my artifact, and then they take it to 6 stars, right? Like, why, thank you. What a way to move stuff from a whale to another player, right? But no, you can't do that. You cannot return to your home realm while you have borrowed or lent heroes and artifacts. Lenders can only lend one hero and one artifact at a time. Lenders cannot use their lent heroes or artifacts except in instance gameplay mode. So yeah, this is working the way I thought it would, where you basically say, hey, I have these things, I'm not using them, you use them, which I think is definitely kind of cool. Like, if you are a whale and you've got the latest and greatest, you may be just sort of like benching things that are older, but they're so powerful still. But like, you have your marches, you're chilling. I think it's pretty cool to be able to lend someone else a hero and an artifact. And they say lenders cannot use their lent heroes and artifacts except in instance gameplay. Lenders can instantly recall heroes or artifacts that are not borrowed. Otherwise, it's 1 hour to recall it. And the borrowers, what's going on that side of the equation? They can borrow one hero and one artifact at a time. They cannot borrow heroes or artifacts that they already own. Huh. So, wait. If you can't borrow a hero you already own, that's a little bit of a head scratcher to me. Like, literally, that's what I just did. So the reason that's a head scratcher is because, I don't know, like, doesn't pretty much everybody try to unlock the overwhelming majority of the heroes? I mean, I think this best serves people who, you know, obviously haven't unlocked the heroes, but so it's like F2P and low spenders, which is great, and I'm all for that. But a lot of those people may have unlocked the hero, but just saw it max them. You see what I mean? And you'd like want to use a max version if someone was trying to give that to you. Same is true of artifacts. That is a surprising constraint. It also punishes you if you have an artifact at like 1 skill level but don't use it. I don't know, whatever. Borrowers can use heroes or artifacts in the field or in city garrisons. Bro. But not in instance gameplay modes. Imagine you like borrow a hero and defend your city with it. Borrowers can return heroes and artifacts at any time. Cool. I mean, I think this feature overall is really, really cool. I think there are a few things that there's probably very good reasons why they work the way they work. Like, you can't borrow a hero you already own because they don't want you to use 2 of that hero at a time. But I think a really cool way to solve that problem, if that is the holdup, would, you know, be to have the borrowing hero replace yours, even though from a lore standpoint that, like, it doesn't exactly make sense. Where did yours go? But whatever. In addition, this picture flashed on the screen briefly, and look at this. When a member gains merits using a borrowed hero, the lender gains 10% of the merits, and merits gained by the borrower are not affected. I like this clarification, by the way. You can buy merit store items for fellowship members. March speed 10% when traveling to a fellowship member city. Interesting. Members gain 2% of the prestige gained by any other fellowship member. Daily limit of 100,000. Yeah, no kidding. Resets at midnight. And that happens immediately, by the way. So I think when you get in this new season, form your fellowship. Fellowship members can borrow and lend heroes. Oh, I guess that comes later on. You need to get some points. How do you get those points? I don't know. Maybe it was in the video. Maybe it wasn't. But it doesn't really matter because this is what you're here for. This is what I'm here for, okay? Sky Fury. This is the on one of the new heroes. Unfortunately, I don't have the kit for Thalia. Like, obviously, I want all the skills, right? But hey, I'm really hyped to share this. So, summons lightning that follows the target on the active skill. This is a rage skill, dealing diffused magic damage every 2 seconds to the target legion and 2 nearby legions, and it's 450 damage factor. Lightning also inflicts numbness upon the target, reducing their march speed by 40% and increasing damage taken by 15% for 2 seconds. That is really interesting. I wonder how fast this travels, because, like, how many of these could you have chasing somebody at a time? I would assume only one orb at a time. Like, how long does this orb last? That's, wow. I mean, I think this is very powerful, and it's very cool to see mages getting something that I think they needed, which is like an AoE skill damage dealer. This is an interesting one. It's doing diffused damage every 2 seconds, and it's AoE damage. So it's here. I mean, she's here to like absolutely smash in group fights, right? 450. So you hit the target and 2 nearby enemy legions. It's 1350 damage. But like you get that trigger presumably multiple times before the orbs go away. Yeah, I mean, this is extremely powerful. This is like pushing the power level in a shocking way. GG. Puns. I just woke up. I'm exhausted. No caffeine yet. Forbidden healing. Each time their hero skill inflicts a debuff upon an enemy, the hero's legion has a 40% chance to gain healing factor of 120 and vigor. 30% hit points for 3 seconds. This can be triggered once per second. Cool. I mean, healing and health is like not insane, but the active skill is already completely insane. So like, yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very powerful. Magic legions led by this hero deal 30% more. Holy. 30% more damage and provide 20% more shields and healing. Okay. I mean, that's a 30% magic damage is insane. I can't believe that's a single skill. Yeah, I mean, Thundelyn's going to be absolutely cracked. There's no way around it. It's not, she's presumably not going to be good to take out the main target you're hitting. And it just doesn't matter. That's absolutely cracked. Like for big fights that define the season, this is where it's at. I don't know if she's going to be good for rallying, but let's keep going. So she's got healing synergy, shielding synergy, and increases magic damage dealt. Okay. Thunderclap. Each time summoned lightning deals damage to the target while in the field. So this is not going to work for Rally Garrison. It has a 30% chance to deal additional magic damage to the target or a random enemy near the Legion. 450 extra factor right there. Okay. That's a powerful skill. I mean, the real question is, how long does Summon Lightning last? So how many ticks of damage are we getting? And like, obviously you need to keep in mind that if you're sending out a lightning orb and it's going from like you to your target, that also means that like, unlike other active skills, like potentially you're not doing much damage initially, but like the grand total damage that you deal is going to make up for that. As long as you don't really need to take out one thing, right? And the expertise, the awakening skill, enhances the active skill. Summons lightning that follows the target legion, dealing diffuse damage every 2 seconds, blah, blah, blah. It's now 500 factor, which like doesn't sound like much, but if you hit the maximum number of targets, that's 150 total factor or combined damage factor. And depending on how many times this is going to tick in a relevant way before dissipating, I mean, let's say it's 5 times. That's pretty good, right? 750 damage factor from an awakening will be really good, right? Like all it's got to be is more than like 300 or 400, and we're talking about like a really good awakening skill. What I think is very, very interesting about this hero is that it's designed, I would argue, for the open field. So I don't know how this is going to work in a mage rally. And we have a mage rally coming. We just don't know the skills yet. What I do, however, think is a pretty big clue is this healing and shielding synergy I mean, I think Thalia is going to be healing and shielding. That's like almost certainly the case because she's not really doing it. But we do have some pictures of the Seraphic Faedrake. We'll get there in a second. First, the artifact. Bro, this artifact is busted. I think this is the most busted artifact they've ever put in the game. And like, I don't think it's by a little bit. I think it's by a lot. I think I will probably end up getting this artifact. Deal diffused magic damage, damage factor 750, every second, up to 5 enemy legions in a designated circle, and inflict silence. They can't use their rage skills for 5 seconds? That is busted. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That is absolutely busted. This is very, very, very powerful. Legions affected by this skill cannot leave the circle. And the additional effect, I mean, but I say that so casually, but like, they can't leave the circle. Like, you silence them, they can't leave a certain area, and it does a ton of damage. That's disgusting. That is so powerful. You get Legion hit points on that. That's interesting. So magic unit attack and hit points. Bro. Yeah, I'd probably got to get this artifact. That's a really good one. And over here, whenever they inflict numbness upon an enemy legion, the wielder gains resistance, reducing your damage taken by 10% for 3 seconds. You know, look, I think Thundelyn's going to be very powerful. Lives up to her name. She's got the lightning synergy, which I think is cool. And interestingly, it's both interesting and not interesting that this artifact does not really enhance Rally Garrison in a way other than providing like the core stats that it provides. This effect presumably is not something you're going to do all that frequently in a rally context. But I don't know. I mean, maybe you can inflict numbness to the garrison. I'd have to reread Thundelyn's kit again. Can she inflict numbness to a garrison? I suppose it doesn't say that you can't, right? Also inflicts numbness. Yeah, I think you actually can. Yeah, no. This might work for Rally Garrison, actually. That is really powerful, actually. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, new artifact, OP. New hero, OP. New artifact, OP. And now we get a look at the Seraphic Faedrake, which I think this is going to be powerful, too. The talent skill is called Soul Source. It's an intelligence-based skill. Deal magic damage and heals both the Legion and whichever nearby friendly Legion has the lowest number of remaining units. Cool, there's a damage factor and a healing factor. Each time an innate skill inflicts a buff or debuff, your war pet gains 1 stack of entreaty, which is removed when your war pet does something, but we don't know what. So this is doing damage and healing, and it's healing 2 things, which, if you're subscribed to my channel, you got some pretty good advice from me a couple weeks ago when I said, hey, look, I think the new mages, if there's a viable rally there, it is entirely possible that the Shadow Faedrake is the pet. And it is possible that it's still the Seraphic Faedrake, but I would bet you that was an accurate prediction. That for Rally Garrison, the Shadow is probably where it's at. This makes it so that you can do more damage with another intelligence-based skill. And lastly, you have a spirit-based skill. This is presumably an end-of-season skill. Every 125 spirit increases the max entreaty stacks by 1. So if you're going to use this pet in a way that moves all in on stacking, which you should, with numbness, right? Well, actually, it's any buff or debuff. Wow. Yeah. Then this gets really good. What's interesting about this particular pet, I mean, we don't have the complete picture here, but I would believe that follow-up is probably not something you want to use on this pet. If the damage and the healing is based on the number of stacks you have, depending on how quickly you can rack up those stacks again, I don't know that you would have a meaningful number of those by the time you are going to use the skill again. And because follow-up is already pretty diminished in its effectiveness, I'm not convinced the follow-up, advanced follow-up, and intense follow-up line is something you might want to do. I am inclined to believe that things like, well, I don't know, this is kind of wild, like Resonance, Magic Fortune, Magic Spirits, Elemental Harmony, the skills that they've got here are generally very good, but the damage factor on this pet doesn't seem like what it's about. It's sort of about the healing factor. I don't know, I wonder if they'll add a pet skill at some point that's like, enhances your pet's damage and healing. That could be a thing. I don't know. I do see how Outbursts of Rage could be very cool. Like, you use your active skills more often, you'll get this, talent skill to trigger more frequently. All right, what else do we have a picture from for this update? I think there's a couple more things. Oh yeah, we have the new Behemoth looking pretty cool here. And there's a picture of the total skills on this thing. I mean, intelligence, spirit, and luck is kind of what I wanted to show. Those are the main attributes on this thing. And it's obvious why you want the intelligence. It's obvious kind of why you want the spirit. And I think the luck would be for some of these other skills that enhance what this pet's up to. But, we're going to have to see the entirety of its kit, assuming there's not too much more language in here on the talent skill, which there easily could be. And we also need to get a look at sort of what the full kits are of these heroes. Like, we got to see Thalia, right? Like, I would suspect this pet is designed more for Thundelyn. Whenever you inflict a buff or a debuff. I think it's inflict a debuff and gain a buff. But like, this is where gain a buff is actually really powerful right over here. Each time their hero skills inflict a debuff upon the enemy legion, the hero has a 40% chance of gaining healing and vigor, and there's the buff, right? Look, I've made predictions in the past and didn't see how and why a hero combo could be strong. This it feels pretty obvious to me that it's going to be powerful. If you're interested in my thoughts about the Dragonfall season in general, I'll have cards in the end screen. And until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody.